Hey everyone! Hope you're having an amazing day. It's Code Karen. Welcome to Reddit Stories, where we have 2 incredible stories with comments. If you're new to this channel, a sub would be great. Tap that notification bell. Let's jump right in. Am I the idiot for not agreeing to let my husband have a baby with another woman? I am married to a great man. Fake name, James, who was a sperm donor to his friend Miranda and her partner, Vivian, while in college. They have a sweet little boy, and James is a very involved uncle. This unconventional relationship existed before I met James, so when I first started dating James, it felt a little awkward at times. I grew to accept the fact that he was the biological father to this child, and it helped that Miranda and Vivian are great parents. James and I have been married for a while, and we've been trying for a baby. Because of our busy schedules, we decided to wait and try in 6 months or so. Last week, Miranda approached James about being a donor again. He was shocked at first, but then he told her that he needed time to think about it and wanted to talk it over with me. From the moment he told me, I was very uncomfortable with the idea. I am his wife and trying to conceive myself. I don't think I could handle seeing another woman carry his baby. James understood completely and suggested to Miranda and Vivian that they find another donor or adopt. They flat out refused and took offense to his answer. They wanted their son to have a sibling that is a genetic match. James politely refused, again, saying that he didn't want to donate because times have changed and he's married now. He tried to shoulder all the guilt shaming, but it was inevitable that they started asking me why I was so against them having a bigger family. I explained my reasoning, and they said that I was being selfish, and it wasn't their fault that I was having trouble conceiving. That comment hurt a lot. Since the confrontation, Miranda and Vivian have restricted access to their son. I know that it's starting to take a toll on James and his side of the family, because their son is, technically, his parents' only grandchild. I admit that my reasons are purely selfish, but am I really in the wrong here? Edit. Update for more info. 1. I didn't forbid my husband from donating. Not that I have any control over that. I just told him that I wouldn't be comfortable with it. 2. When James first donated, he was single, and he told them that he would be open to donating again in the future. But as far as I'm aware, there was never an explicit agreement. Let's head to the comments. Burke Monster says, not the idiot. But yeah, you're being a little selfish. The idea of this couple being able to have another baby with your husband's help so their kids can be biologically related is a really great idea. From what you told us, it's worked out really well for everyone involved. So it's just you feeling uncomfortable with it that is stopping these women from having another baby. You have every right not to want your husband to donate, but maybe the only reason he is saying no is because of you. He may come to resent you for this. So, the decision must be mutual. Think of this. What happens if you can't conceive, and his only heirs are from these women friends? I don't think you deny him that joy of fathering children, even if those children didn't come from you. If you think of it from that angle, it makes sense that he donates again. I agree that the 2 moms are also being petty and vindictive by reducing visitation. Not a good sign if they don't get what they want. They use the child as a weapon against your husband. For that reason, I might advise him not to donate. They are the ones being selfish and immature. Rather interesting, because they are accusing you of being the selfish one. Stat Inc. says, everyone stinks here, except James. I understand your feelings, but I also understand why these women would want to have their kids biologically related to each other. I think the choice should be up to James. It isn't him having a child with them. Think of it as doing a little fertilization. He's already close friends with these 2 women, so he'll forever be involved, even if he isn't the bio dad of baby number 2. I see a lot of jealousy shared between Miranda, Vivian, and you. I suggest working through it, with James and with these women, instead of putting your foot down with an ultimatum. Granted, you explicitly did not phrase it as an ultimatum, but it is. Miranda and Vivian are not handling this well at all. It isn't fair to their son to restrict access to family because they didn't get the answer they wanted. Children should not be used as bargaining chips. Also, James's parents really should not be considering this child their grandchild. That's a little bit of a stretch, but that's a completely different topic for another day. Sheesh. Our next story is, am I the idiot for choosing my dog over my wife? 2 years ago, my wife and I decided we wanted to get a dog. This was my wife's first pet, but before we were married, I owned several dogs. I met a super sweet pit bull at a local shelter and called my wife. She met him and agreed that he was sweet, and asked me if I could handle him and train him to behave. I've always trained my own dogs, and agreed that this wouldn't be a problem. We brought him home the next day. I was responsible for his feeding, walks, and training. One day, my wife came home to find him on the couch with me and was very upset. The dog was not allowed on the furniture. On and on she went. Looking back, this was the start of my wife vocalizing non-stop about her disapproval of the dog. She said he smelled. I thought he was fine. He licked her. We trained that out. And he ran in the house while playing. I tried explaining that she had to adjust her expectations, but she shot back at me saying that this was her first dog, so how did she know? I agreed to work on the discipline. To let everyone know, this dog and I totally bonded. My wife complained every day that the dog didn't like her, only me. But I told her that's because I interact with him the most. And if she would be a little more friendly, the dog would respond to her kindness, not her constant negativity. She became increasingly frustrated and finally admitted that I bullied her into getting a dog because I was the only one who wanted a dog, not her. In her defense, I did really want a dog, and maybe I was a tad persuasive at the time. Months go by, and my wife's resentment for the dog keeps growing. I think she's being very unfair, and one day, I had enough, and told her that she's jealous of my relationship with the dog. Well, she loses it. She says every day with my dog is a constant stress for her. However, it's been stressful for me too, dealing with all her resentment. So, you know what's coming, right? She tells me to make a choice. Choose a new home for the dog, or keep the dog knowing how much stress he causes her. I love my wife, and I can see how much this upsets her. I can't deny that she's very serious about the accusations. However, there's no way I'm giving away the dog. I told her the honest truth. If I am forced to find a new home for this dog, and it feels like I'm being forced, then I will resent her too much for this relationship to work. This dog means that much to me, and I'm not willing to compromise. Long story short, I kept the dog. And every day I'm living with her disapproval, but that's okay. She accuses me of not really loving her, but she didn't leave me either. Tonight, 2 years later, it came to a head. She asked me if I regret my choice to keep the dog. I tell her that still seeing her unhappy makes me unhappy, but I guess we are both very stubborn people. I told her I'd make the same decision today if asked to choose between my dog and my wife. I've made my peace with that. She tells me that I don't really care about her after all. She's wrong about that, but I still won't give up my dog. Am I the idiot for choosing my dog over my wife? Let's head to the comments. Mizzy28 says, I think the problem here is that this conflict isn't about being an idiot. It's about priorities. I have owned my dog for over 10 years and love her more than anything. However, if I had to choose between my dog and my husband today, I wouldn't even have to think twice about it. My husband would take precedence over my dog. The only way the dog would come first is if my love for my dog was greater than the love I have for my husband, in which case, I would conclude that we probably shouldn't be married in the first place. Again, I don't think this choice makes someone an idiot, but it would lead me to reassess my relationship for sure. I also feel that giving ultimatums to a partner is toxic and bad for the marriage. Lola the girl says, you're the idiot. You've made peace with the fact that your decision makes your wife uncomfortable and unhappy in her own home? You say you care about her, which you probably do, but you care about the dog more. You're married. Your wife is supposed to be your number one priority, but you put yourself and your dog ahead of her. I'm very surprised you haven't divorced yet, but it sure sounds like you've been living in the doghouse. LOL. Hey Code Karen community, what would you do in this situation? I'd love to hear your comments. See you in the next story.